Welcome to the Tin Hat Podcast with your host, Chris Ellis.
Hello and welcome back to the Tin Hat Podcast, the home to all fan reactions, chat and nonsense on everything Kettering Town Football Club. You can listen to the Tin Hat Podcast on Spotify, Apple, Podbean or YouTube. You can subscribe, like, follow and get involved by searching for the Tin Hat or the Tin Hat 1 if you're on Instagram or Twitter. It's the third edition of our Match Hat series this season, as we look back on the Nuneaton Borough stomping on Tuesday night in the FA Trophy, and then we also take a review of the AFC Telford game and the York City game.
I'm Chris, and today I've got Jimmy Loader.
How you going, mate? All right?
Not bad, thank you. We're off to Wembley, aren't we?
Boy, are we, mate. Get that ticket site up. Wembley tickets on the go.
Won't have anything on the 99-2000 season, I tell you. Literally. What a win last night, to be fair. Struggled for a bit first half, though.
Yeah, made hard work of it early doors. But yeah, it was first time in a little while we've been able to watch a game and relax, really, towards the end, don't you think?
I would say relaxed. Yeah, it was comfortable in the end. But first half, we kind of struggled a bit. I'll probably have to say highlight of the season within the first 10 minutes. Honestly, I did have to say I thought that was the best atmosphere that first half yesterday. We've had a few games at Latimer Park already this season. But that Tony Breedon sending off, it was fantastic. He fucking hated it, didn't he?
It really did make my night. Obviously, we've not seen him for a few years, have we? And he was always the goader, if you like, of the crowd. He's someone that you'd love to have on your team, hate to play against, but like you say, didn't look up for it. And fair play to the ref for having the bottle to do that so early. Absolutely fantastic.
You could see it a mile off, though, couldn't you? Ben Stevens running down the middle, Breedon storming out the bold bastard he is, and just arms galore, and just takes him out. I think he timed it quite well because he wanted to get there before he got into the box to avoid a penalty. But you would have hoped with him being on the pitch still we would have comfortably have won last night's game, but we didn't make it easy first half, did we?
No, I mean, we made some chances quite early on, and like you say, Stevens broke through. I mean, their centre-backs were not great. And yeah, like you say, just clearly was always going to win the race to the ball. Breedon coming out, nowhere near it, didn't try and play the ball, obvious call. Yeah, a little bit of a sloppy mistake for the goal. Couldn't see from the far end, but it looked like a free kick came in, went to clear it, lost their footing, and yeah, a bit sloppy. And you do think then, oh, well, they could bung 9 men behind the ball and a keeper and 10 men behind the ball and hold on. But once we got that first goal in the first half, good that we got that at the end of the half. Yeah, it was one-way traffic, wasn't it, second half?
It was a bit of a walkover in the end. And I, to be honest, I was surprised that it only ended up being 10 men for Nuneaton, because I clearly feel that their number 4, a wannabe Afro kid, to put it politely, tripped Stevens off the ball when we scored just after the first goal. There was a clear. Obviously, the ball was dead, right? So Ben Stevens is trying to win the ball back to have the kick off and get the game going again because we had the momentum. And as he runs away, ref clearly sees it, sticks his foot out. Ben Stevens goes over. Should have been another red card. So I know Poppy's TV in particular this season haven't had the best reviews on referees in terms of the games, the decisions that have gone against us, but that's got to be a red card, right?
Yeah, I think there are two parts to it. I think if Breedon hadn't been sent off, it might have been a different story. I'm not sure whether he wanted to send another player off for a, I wouldn't say off the ball incident. Well, that one was, but the first one probably wasn't. But yeah, it could have been on another day, to be fair. And there were a couple of other changes in the second half that started to fly in. You thought, oh, this could get a bit niggly. But obviously it didn't, and it died down. I think on the whole, though, even with 11 men, second half they just tired out, and we were far too strong for them. And I felt sorry for that poor keeper coming on, because he wasn't dealt a good hand by his defence, but even from that first free kick from Breedon's red card that bounced up and hit him in the face and he didn't get anywhere near it. Yeah, it was always eventually going to be one way, and we said in the stand if we could get the equaliser and push on, we'll get a hatful, and that's how it turned out. So yeah, great stuff really. A good Tuesday night.
This is why I just love non-league. I think you hear so much, especially when there's only 170 odd fans packing out Latimer Park last night, where you've just got the likes of Toby and Boyle in your ear roll for the whole 90 minutes. It's just hilarious. I wonder what they must think of, because I'd never want to be a non-league referee or a non-league goalkeeper, because you just hear absolutely everything.
Yeah, it's you can, like you say, you can hear all the shouts. Some of them roll with it and take it on the chin. The Telford goalie, to be fair, on Saturday. I think he's been at Latimer Park a couple of times, and he's someone that he's been there, he's done it. He takes the stick, gets on with it, and this poor lad Tuesday, I don't know how much game time he's had. Probably not an awful lot if they've got Breedon there. Probably not used to it, even with a smaller crowd. So it's definitely a bit of pressure. I just thought, first 30 minutes, or first 20, 25 maybe, until they scored, we looked decent. It's a bit sloppy. We had a 10-minute spell that probably looked a little bit poor. And then, from there on, there was only going to be one side that would go on and win it. I thought it was great to see Kyle Perry get a goal. He's had a difficult start. I've been quite critical probably on here. But I thought actually last night he did the simple stuff quite well. Probably was taken off at the right time. I don't know what you thought about the sub early in the second half, but on the whole, I thought it was good, much better from him. Good to see him get the goal, and that ultimately, turned the game round, and we went on from there.
Definitely opportunity last night to mix things up, I suppose. It was actually nice to not put out a second string side. The amount of times that we've had managers come in and not seem to take this seriously, this competition, it's generally infuriating for the paying fans, because you don't want to go to Latimer Park and watch an under-18 side, try and work it out for 90 minutes against I'd probably say a well-paid Nuneaton side. They've got the likes of Leroy Lita, Breedon, as you mentioned. They've got Marcus Kelly. They've got some good standard players in there with good pedigree sort of thing. So they're not a team just to think that we could walk over. I think what worked in our favour last night is that their first game since the 3rd of November was last Tuesday, when it was the first round of the first qualifying round, I think, of the FA Trophy. So that was their first game since the 3rd of November. So I think fitness helped us massively. Whether Perry, you could say, will ever get fit, we had that conversation last time. I don't really know the answer to that one. But yeah, definitely, we were winning pretty comfortably then. Substitutes came on. But one thing I was really chuffed with last night is Sheriff got on the score sheet, and not just once, but 3 times. And I think that'll be a huge boost of confidence for him.
Yeah, I actually agree with that one. And I think the biggest part of that, we've said on here before, take Telford as a prime example. I know we'll touch on that later. We just needed someone in the box, a fox in the box, if you like. And I thought Sheriff yesterday, first half, played a little bit further out wide, sort of down the left, didn't really get into the game too much. Second half, as soon as you're in the box, in the right areas, took his chances well. Like you say, 3 goals, that'll do him the world of good. You get a run of games and you start scoring, and suddenly it's a whole different game, isn't it? So, yeah, totally agree with you. We could have had more, plenty of other chances. So, yeah, totally agree. I think it was great to see that.
Comfortable win in the end then, and we've now got Ashton in the next round. Bit of a shame, because I kind of wanted to do one over York, considering we probably matched them for 80 minutes at their place the other week. But happy with the next result. Should be a tough game though. They've beaten some good sides to get here.
Yeah, Northern Premier League sides, as we've definitely found out in the past, not easy to beat. FC United last year in the trophy. We've had Nantwich in the FA Cup before now. We know it's not going to be easy. Like you say, they've beaten some good teams as well away from home. But me personally, I would rather play a lower ranked side. No disrespect to them, but this presents us a good opportunity to get into the 4th round. And we're 3 or 4 games from Wembley.
We're going there, mate. It's written in the stars. We're already on the way.
Exactly. I think I read an article on Pat God that said it's 21 years difference from 79 to 2000. It'll be 2021 next year. So, like you say, it's it is written in the stars. I would rather keep playing sides from lower divisions all the way through. And really, again, we might touch on that. If we want to do one over on York, let's do it at our patch later in the year when the fans are there. And we can get behind them. So do you fancy our chances Saturday?
I do. I'm just looking at their games, who they placed. Who they played. And York are a full-time outfit at our level, and we did beat them. We should have beat them, to be honest. And we'll touch on that game, but you would snap anyone's hands off for a lower-ranked team at any level, even FA Cup or FA Trophy. I think you look at it as you are a bit naive at this level where you think you should walk games like that. But sometimes the underdog does help. But I feel it might benefit us because there isn't the fans. I think if we had a bigger opposition coming to Latimer Park, and you mentioned the patch, I'm gonna say there's probably not going to be much grass left at the point that York come to town. But you have that home support, which can always act as a 12th man, so that might work in our favour. I think they're in Tier 3 anyway, so there's no fans allowed. But yeah, should be a win. But I walked into the ground last night and said to you, I could see a loss on the cars, and you were like, really? I went, no, honestly, I could see us losing tonight. And I feel if they kept 11 men, it could have been a different story, because we did struggle for 40 minutes when we went 1-0 down. So anything can happen. That's a beauty FA Cup, but we're going to do it. Place your bets, lads. We're going to go all the way.
Did you think was man of the match last night then?
Good question. There's 3 outstanding performers, and I know Sheriff got 3 goals, but I still don't feel that he was worthy of the man of the match. It would have to be either between Richins, Milnes, or Storer. Storer, he's been Mr. Consistent again. He's just a different kettle of fish. I think if we had 11 Conor Kennedys and 11 Gary Storers, I think we would win this league. But he reminded me a bit of the old bold right back we had at Clifton, James Clifton. He was making them runs very similar to him last night, cutting inside, and it was when he hit the post, it could have been goal of the season. And it just goes to show kind of the performance levels that he has week in, week out are just unreal. And I feel he deserved probably some praise. But Richins and Milnes have come on leaps and bounds. Richins went on loan to Nuneaton, I think, last year, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Wasn't good enough for Nicky Eden. Came back, kind of struggled. But this year he started to find some real form, and he's getting forward a bit more as well. He started coming out of that left wing a bit towards the end of last night, and some of the balls over the top into our front two were I don't know if it helped with the pitch holding up or what, but they were second to none. They were fantastic, and if he keeps that up, we'll be testing quite a lot of sides in this league this season. So what about you? Echo any of those thoughts, or anyone else stand out for you?
Yeah, no, I agree, Chris. I think Storer for me, the bloke is a joke. He's so consistent. I can probably count since he's joined the club the amount of times he's had a bad game. How many times have we lost comfortably, been outplayed, and in the report it will say, the team on the whole were poor, other than maybe Gary Storer. But like you say, last night he had that opportunity. I think the fact they took a striker off for the sub goalie meant he was able to push forward a lot more. He's always up and down that wing, but was able to push a lot further forward than perhaps normal. But he took that chance, didn't he? And he was, like you say, in the box at the sort of top end of the pitch. He was he looked like a striker with his ball control, and like you say, unlucky when he hit the post. For me, he was the standout. I thought notable performances. Sheriff, a little bit out of the game first half, but at the end of the day, took all 3 goals well. He was in the right areas. Lots been said about Richins and Milnes. I thought they were both pretty good. I thought Richins probably shaded it, but for me, I just don't think you can really look past Gary Storer, and I was just I was pleased for Kyle Perry as well to get his first goal. Hopefully will give him a little bit of confidence. He seems to be quite a confident person in any case, and a bit of a character around the place. Hopefully that's the start of him, kicking on, and between him and Sheriff, maybe we'll have a little and large combo up front that can start scoring on a regular basis.
So just talking about the Gary Storer, the run, for anyone who hasn't seen the highlights yet, I'll try and be quite descriptive, but he's running from about 30, probably about 40 yards, or probably from the halfway line, all the way through the defence, and he has a shot, hits the right-hand side of the post. And I think Ashanti Price, who came on as a sub for Perry, had the whole goal to aim at, and it was a bit rather Sam Banyas-esque, wasn't it?
Knew that was coming.
It was, wasn't it? I think it's up there with one of the worst misses I think I've ever seen at Latimer Park.
It was impressive that, like you say, he managed to. I think he was sliding in, wasn't he, to try and get it in before the keeper got back up and across, and somehow the pitch didn't help. I'm sure we can use that as a bit of a leveller. He slid it back across the goal, and the keeper got to it basically on the goal line, didn't he? But it would have been a heck of a goal from Storer had it gone in.
And that, I'm just looking at the history of that as well, and that was a qualifying round for the FA Cup. And I can't believe that was on the 19th of October in 1999. I remember it like yesterday. I was only 6, 7. Literally, it's crazy how time flies. But hopefully, we're off to the promised land, and we're off to Wembley as we can see the vision now, can't we? Early next season, all fans are allowed back into the grounds, and we're sipping the beers outside Wembley Central, and we're on our way.
The big thing to take away from that last night was it must have felt good for the team to score, 5. Doesn't matter who you're playing. Going back to the Telford game on Saturday, you think, well, if we'd have just had that kind of predatory instinct in front of goal on Saturday, that could have been a different story. Do you think? So
yeah, I thought the game against Telford, we should have won it. I don't know, but I just thought we was pretty solid at the back. Obviously, Luke Graham, he fell injured quite early in that game, and having read some of the reviews, it doesn't actually sound good. I spoke to Gary Graham last night, and he had some trouble with his vision. So apparently, after every game, Luke Graham has had problems, and it sounds quite a serious injury. And I was speaking to my old man last night, and he was saying how if it's vision that's affecting his game, surely you've got to consider your long-term health from that, because he went down, and I didn't really see why he went down for. And it's kind of one of those, especially when there's a lot of news out there at the moment about dementia and players, that are coming down with early onset dementia and things because of the heading of footballs and stuff. Obviously, thoughts are with Luke at this time. Obviously, hope he's recovering well. He weren't in the squad last night because he still had them issues, and I just thought it was a contact lens issue or something like that. But he said no, it's actually something quite serious. And I know there's been a lot of negativity about Luke Graham from the start of the season, but nobody wishes Luke to be unwell or injured. So just wanted to state that on this poddy actually. But I think when McGrath came and went centre back, I'm not sure who came on for Luke. I think it was Ben Stevens. So the shape was changed, and I thought we were solid defensively, and even mirrored against the game Nuneaton last night. McGrath taking corners, I had to question myself why he was doing it, but I would have to say his set pieces last night were pretty decent. They were better than anything I've seen this season from anyone else. We had a few chances against Telford. I feel that there weren't enough. That was the only problem. Neither keeper got tested enough. Collins made a really good save in the second half quite late on, which, anybody else on the ball, if they had the old, if you had like the Callum Roberts at this level for them, they probably would have gone in. But hopefully, like the goals from last night will kick a bit of confidence into the lads and do well. But what do you think about the game overall against Telford?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we probably could have won it. I think we should have had. Well, there were 3 penalty shouts, weren't there? And I thought the first one on Kennedy looked to foul from behind. From behind the goal, I should say. It looked like he broke through and was clipped as the ball had gone past. The second one on Powell looked a bit soft, although I've seen a reverse angle of it on video, and that it could have been. It would have been a soft one. And then the one in the second half, the ball came across, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was now that was pulled down in the middle of the box, but it looked a blatant penalty. So you think you get one of those, you score, and like you say, Telford didn't look like scoring, save for that one chance near the end where Colin made a good save and the rebound was put wide. And if they'd have scored then and won the game, they thoroughly would not have deserved it. I think if we'd have just had somebody in there with a little bit more of an instinct and an eye for goal Saturday, we'd have come away with 3 points, and they'd have been a very good 3 points, because Telford, for a side that they were 7th when we played them, I don't think they looked anything stronger than what we were, and that gives me not hope, because I think we're all right, but it makes you feel a bit more relaxed. Okay, well, we are competitive in this league. We have got the players. We might need one or two more tweaks, but actually we're doing all right. So I would have taken a point before kick-off, and I still think it's a good point. But I did come away disappointed that we hadn't quite won the game. So fingers crossed. Like you say, last night's confidence boost pays off, and moving forward, we start banging goals in and picking up 3 rather than 1 point. I will say separately, and I'd like your views on it as well. I thought there were a couple of challenges in the game that the referee let go on Saturday, and when you compare that to the referee last night, who was perhaps a little bit over officious at times, but made the big decisions and didn't shirk away from them, the red card, etc. What did you think? I've looked at the highlights, and I thought there could have potentially been at least one red card for a couple of challenges that came flying in from Telford players Saturday.
100%. I even thought at the time some of the tackles in particular looked very dangerous. I know there was a bit of a handbags in the second half as well, and I think the image that, I don't know if this was carefully placed, but Poppy's TV has put the image of one of their strikers, or it might have been their number 3 centre back or something, with their hand or fist up Perry's face. It was difficult, because the amount of years that I've been crying out for a Kettering side to move away from the too nice mentality. I felt over the years in games we have taken that approach, and it's nice to see a bit of a needle in these games. And I think last night there was an element of that. And I also thought there definitely was against Telford, and both sides, it was scrappy at times, but I thought the ref bottled a couple of decisions, particularly the penalty first half, which should have been given when Kennedy was running across the box. I thought that was clear, wouldn't need a VAR for that. Like you say, the other one, I think Clive Shackleton did a record of the foul on Powell. I think the player won the ball. But what I just hate about this level is the inconsistency. There's games when you can. I would never leave a game saying that a ref has done well. You never look back on that, because you'll always look at the negativity of a ref, particularly at our level. But I think there could have been some red cards there, but we don't help ourselves at times. The amount of times that we've had players kind of booked for dissent, or arguing back, or things like that, I just feel, cut those out of our games. And I'm going to use Connor Kennedy, fantastic player, probably player of the season, up there with Gary Storer. Consistent, he's battling midfield. I think without him we wouldn't have a midfield for a start. Could have scored last night, and his attitude is great, but it feels, and he is, like Paul Cox alluded to, he's the nicest man you'll ever meet off the pitch. When he gets on there, he's like a hothead on speed. He's just literally riled up, and I love that passion, and I love the enthusiasm of him. But I just feel there's decisions sometimes that he could probably just cut out of his game. And talking about red cards, obviously you watched the York game, the free stream. He could have probably got sent off in that game.
Yeah, I do agree. I think actually that challenge on the touchline didn't look good, did it? And I agree with you. It could have been. We probably got away with one. I know we lost the game anyway, but probably got away with one there, and we could have, we certainly don't want him suspended. My question to you then, Chris, is if you take that out of Connor Kennedy's game, is he still going to be the same player? It is annoying when he gets booked for silly things like shoving people when the ball's gone in the net, and like you say, some of the back chat he got booked last night, I think for dissent when we scored. I'm guessing it was because he didn't send the number 4 off. But if you take that out of his game and he goes into his shell a bit, is he the same player that he is at the moment? I personally, I don't know. I don't think he probably would be, and so I'd rather say, okay, well, look, you're probably going to get booked most weeks. You might lose him for 2 games a season, but when you've got him for the other 40, he's probably going to be one of your best players. I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
I just think, as a fan, and you see it at every level, if there's a decision that players don't agree with, 10 players can sometimes surround the referee, and I don't agree with stuff like that. I think if I hate it when people compare the likes of the respect from rugby and football, but I feel there is an element of that which, the captain should have the right to challenge and have the conversations with the referees. But when players surround the referees' faces, swearing and doing things like that, and getting booked for dissent, which can be easily avoidable, there must be a way that he can show, I don't know, anger / passion in games. And it is just frustrating because he got booked last night. That could potentially now mean that he could be suspended if he gets another yellow card next game. I'm not sure. I've lost count on the amount of yellow cards he's got this season because water is wet and so is Connor Kenny getting a yellow card every game. But it can be avoided, and maybe that's his maturity. And every game, every season, I feel that Paul Cox is taking him somewhat under his wing and uses him as kind of the forefront and building the team around him. So I think his performances wouldn't change as such. It's just perhaps keeping his mouth shut. I don't know.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think if he wants to get into the Football League, obviously that's a side of his game that he's going to have to develop. But I'm sure the FA will hope he doesn't, because it seems like he single-handedly funds their Christmas parties.
So York, bit of a time away now. I think it was a week ago yesterday. Decent stream. It was free. Had a bit of banter with the fans on the chat. Thought it was a good 80 minutes. Probably shouldn't have lost the game. They're full time. Bit of a cocky bunch. They're fans. Not gonna lie. But we gave as much as they gave us. So it was all good fun all round. Free, spirits on the night on the chat. If that's a standard of a full time side in this league, I'm not worried. Are you?
No, I would agree with you. I thought we more than matched them. But for the fact that we just, like you say, just didn't get out of the blocks in the first, 8 minutes? Good free kick. I thought he took it well, but a bit of a silly foul. And the penalty. Other than that, I mean, you could look at it 2 ways. One, I agree. I thought we more than matched them. We had a lot of the ball. We probably didn't do enough for me to look like scoring 2 goals, but we had a lot of the ball, like you say, and were arguably slightly the better side for most of the rest of the game. Say for that first, 8 minutes, where they scored a good free kick, and obviously the penalty, I thought we more than matched them. You could look at it 2 ways really and say, well, one, we were actually, we are as good as York, and like you say, the keeper, he made a good save in the first half, which could have put us a goal away, and you never know. Or you could say, well, York was comfortable, they were 2-0 up, they didn't have to do an awful lot more to win the game and saw it out comfortably. But like to answer your question, no, I'm not worried if that's the full-time standard. And whilst I was disappointed we lost, one, I don't think anybody expected us to go away to York and win. And two, I'd be more worried if I was a York fan and that's what a full-time side is serving up. When you see the likes of Fylde, and Gloucester, as we played at the beginning of the season, looking heaps better, I think you'd be worried as a York fan that maybe you're not going to get out of this league again. And as you said earlier, they're quite a cocky bunch and could end up with egg on their face.
Echo that, absolutely. Thought you have to laugh because obviously I don't know if you can look back on the comments, but it was good fun just to have a bit of banter and friendly chat with some of the fans, because it was probably more entertaining than parts of the game, we'll have to admit. But yeah, I think we're starting to get a bit of an identity now. I feel at the beginning, it was a bit of, okay, the pressure's on Paul. This is your side now. It's not Nicky Eden's East-West side. You've got a point to prove. And he did transform this club last year when he came in. If I remember rightly, there was 8 games unbeaten, and we thought we were going to march our way to the playoffs. At times, it looked like it was that close. But I'm starting to feel a bit more confident in the shape and the structure of the team now. I'll probably say the only thing that's hindering the performances against better sides, obviously take nothing away from Nuneaton, but they are in a lower league. Hadn't played regularly like we have recently, which is always a benefit. You could tell the fitness was a lot better. Is the pitch, and I feel when you go to the likes of York, we've been to Fylde now, Gloucester was a bit of a different occasion because it was the first game of the season, so really no expectations. But we seem to have definitely played better football on better pitches, and I thought we could have come away, probably a fair result would have been a draw against York, and it was a loss, but I didn't come away with it feeling like we battered a team and lost, and all toys out of the pram, going to get relegated side against York. So every positive you've got to take, especially where we were a few weeks back.
Yeah, echo that. Like you say, didn't feel disappointed. Didn't expect anything from the game, but the performance, like you say, gave us that hope that actually, we'll be all right this year. We're not going to be, relegation fodder. We're probably not going to be perhaps top 7 this year, but we can touch on that in another podcast. But we'll be fine. I think the only disappointing part of that evening was seeing Bootham Crescent on the TV or on your stream or however you watched it. A real great traditional football ground, and obviously I know we took a good number up there last year, thinking that would be the last time that the Poppies would play there. And it's such a shame to be able to have those away games and for fans not to be able to go and and enjoy them. York is always one that you look out for because traditional old ground in the city, good day out. That was what I was more disappointed about than the result, I guess, Chris.
Can we just pick Bootham Crescent up and just deliver it to Latimer Park, whether it's just the pitch or the stands? I know we're making great, moves with the ground and it looks fantastic now, but just the pitch, can we have it?
Well, you say that. Did you not see the pitch on one end of the pitch on the night? I actually thought they'd picked up Latimer Park and dumped it in York because it looked to me like the centre backs at the home end could have gone for a swim every time the long ball came over. It wasn't great. I'm not going to lie. I'm sure the weather's been poor, but like you say, great ground, isn't it? And when you look at teams with those sort of facilities and the new grounds, the Yorks and the Bostons and teams that are moving into multi-purpose arenas, it's quite incredible, really, that we should be on an even playing field. I'm not trying to do us down. I think it's fantastic that we are, but how do you compete with that? We don't have that kind of money to build it, and you've got York, who, like you say, have got Bootham Crescent and a brand new multi-purpose venue, and we're doing everything we can to get Latimer Park up to standard. It almost seems unfair, doesn't it?
If Bootham Crescent was a swimming pool, I think Latimer Park's the English Channel. It is what it is, and I think we're still trying to find our feet in a very difficult league. 2 performances which we could have probably took 2 points off at least. Maybe could have possibly won Telford game, but promising signs again. Looking forward to the game this weekend. So fingers crossed for another win and through to the next round.
Probably a point to finish, and I know this is your favourite part of the Match Hat series. Who are your heroes and villains of the week, Chris? Perhaps across the 3 games?
3 games, cool.
No pressure.
A tricky one. I don't want to pick the same as I did last time. So I'm actually going to go for a hero here, and it might be a bit of a controversial one, but McGrath. I know a lot of people don't like him in terms of, not personally, by the way, performance-wise, probably a lovely bloke. Not really had any conversations with him, but he's been quite solid in the 2 games at centre-back since having to go there after Luke Graham's injury against AFC Telford. And it's nothing against Luke Graham. I just think that he's been solid. He looks to be a real threat with his set pieces and corners. And we just seem to be a bit more structured with him there. So hopefully he's kind of found his slot for the season, because I didn't think he worked when he was a centre mid. And I think just having Richins and Milnes kind of in front of him just ensures they can get forward a bit more. In terms of villains, tough one. There hasn't really been anyone, unless who gave the stupid foul away for the penalty. Let's give it to him for the first game against York. I don't know if that was Reece Sharp's first game, was it?
It was Jevon Anderson, I think.
Jevon Anderson, was it? Yeah, let's just give it to him. But I'm going to be honest, Loader, there's not been many villains for me. Probably the fact Boyle's now come back to Latimer Park for his first game. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, agreed. I think, following up on that, I think over the last week you can't really criticise too many of the players for performances and the effort that they've all put in. But for that, like you say, that sloppy start at York, a bit of a soft penalty to give away, a bit of a lack of concentration. So I would say that was the blot on the copybook, if you like. Performances and heroes. Mine, I thought it sort of follows up your point about Mike McGrath slotting into centre-back, but his centre-back partner, Ryan Fryatt, I thought overall has been brilliant. And I'd like to see the highlights again. It might have been him that missed his clearance yesterday, and if so, then a bit of a poor mistake. But hopefully we can blame the pitch for it. I thought he's been excellent, just solid. Got himself a goal last night as well. Really solid across all of the games, really. So he would have to be my hero of the last week, if you like. I think if we carry on like this, then there'll be more positive podcasts than negative, I think, Chris.
100%. It's been a pleasure again, Loader. Appreciate that.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Chat soon, anytime. See you in a bit.